Welcome to this analysis video for the poem Eden Rock by Charles Causley from the AQA Love and Relationships Poetry Anthology. We'll begin with a reading of the poem. Eden Rock. They're waiting for me somewhere beyond Eden Rock. My father, 25, in the same suit of genuine Irish tweed, his terrier Jack, still 2 years old and trembling at his feet. My mother, 23, in a sprigged dress, drawn at the waist, ribbon in her straw hat, has spread the stiff white cloth over the grass. Her hair, the colour of wheat, takes on the light. She pours tea from a thermos, the milk straight from an old HP sauce bottle. A screw of paper for a cork slowly sets out the same 3 plates, the tin cups painted blue. The sky whitens as if lit by 3 suns. My mother shades her eyes and looks my way. Over the drifted stream my father spins a stone. Along the water, leisurely. They beckon to me from the other bank. I hear them call, "See where the stream path is. Crossing is not as hard as you might think." I had not thought that it would be like this. So this is a really interesting poem, I think, for a number of reasons. I would just say right off the bat, it's an ambiguous poem. And what I mean by that is its true nature is unclear. You know, is it a poem about the past and the present? Is it a poem about life and death, for example? Ambiguous poems support us in our exams because we can bring our own interpretations. Okay, now I'm going to give you one sort of perspective on this, but this is a really important poem for showing us the power of the reader in interpreting the things that they read. Right, with that in mind, let's begin with the title. Obviously, the word Eden is a reference to the Garden of Eden. We call this a biblical allusion, referencing something from the Bible. The Garden of Eden is or was the paradise where Adam and Eve first resided. It's taken to be, you know, in literature, this kind of idyllic, beautiful place, a place of peace and comfort, which will be important later on. Now, it's Eden Rock. So this kind of brings us 2 meanings here. It could be a place. You know, it's the kind of name that you might hear somebody talk about, you know, if they went on holiday. Oh, you know, I visited Eden Rock. So it could be a place, possibly, as we know in this poem, it describes a sort of picnic, as it were, in the past. So this could be where it took place. But it also, you know, rocks are very stable, very strong. So could it be referencing, of course, the parents too? You know, they are my rock, as it were. Right, so let's look at the first line of the poem. They. So initially, at least, it's unclear who. We learned that the they is the parents, but initially it's unclear. They are waiting for me somewhere. Again, unclear where they're waiting, but it's beyond Eden Rock. So are they far away? Are they at a distance? You know, the ambiguity of somewhere, well, somewhere could be anywhere, really, couldn't it? And then we have obviously the title of the poem here, as we've just discussed. Moving slowly into the imagery then. So my father, that's the first focus, the patriarch of the family. 25, in the same suit of genuine Irish tweed. You know, he has a certain class, doesn't he? A certain implication of his kind of handsome appearance. His terrier Jack, still 2 years old and trembling at his feet. You know, this is a father who is a protector, not just of his children, but also of animals, you know, and this image of this shaking small dog next to the father shows that the father is kind of bringing this animal close to look after them. Then we shift perspective to the mother, the matriarch of the family. So you have this kind of two-sided thing going on. I note the word my repeated, that sort of possessive language. 23, so they're both young, aren't they? In a sprigged dress, drawn at the waist, ribbon in her straw hat. Again, there is a beauty here. Ribbon in her straw hat has spread the stiff white cloth over the grass. So we know that this is the scene of a picnic, quite wholesome, quite traditional. Her hair, the colour of wheat, takes on the light. So we associate here, don't we? We see a kind of conflation, which is a word when we bring together, of hair and light. Okay? Again, showing the mother to be this very influential person. Okay? Then we see some things that they do. So she pours tea from a thermos, the milk straight from an old HP sauce bottle. We have some very kind of British imagery here. This is clearly implied to be a memory. A screw of paper for a cork slowly sets out the same 3 plates, the tin cups painted blue. I'm just going to underline here the word 3 and come back to this in a moment. Again, this is a peaceful image, okay? The speaker clearly taking comfort. The sky whitens as if lit by 3 suns. Now we have 2 references to 3, okay? Now, of course, we know that Eden Rock, the title of the poem, could this be another biblical allusion, specifically to the Holy Trinity, this idea of the triple? Because, of course, one interpretation of this poem is that this speaker is in this sort of transitionary period between life and death. The Eden is heaven that they're heading towards, and who is guiding them towards that place? The parents. So everything starts to take on this tone of Christian spirituality. My mother shades her eyes and looks my way over the drifted stream. You know, stream, we now have water, this idea of things flowing, this idea of movement. It pivots, my father spins a stone along the water. Leisurely, you notice here as well, as I will come into with structure, that this enjambment starts to appear. Things start to kind of break down in terms of syntax, so the kind of the structures of the lines as we head towards this moment, this key moment in the poem. They beckon to me. You know, to beckon is to call. They're summoning, come, come, come. To me, over from the other bank, I hear them call, see where the stream path is. Stream path is. Crossing is not as hard as you might think. So there's clearly a sense of movement here, okay, and change. We have a gap. I'll come back to the gap in a moment. I had not thought it would be like this. So what is the it? Is it past to present? Is it life to death? Either way, the parents are guiding this speaker. We come back just to the last line of the poem. The I, that first person, appears again, contrasting with, I guess, the they of the first word of the first line. The speaker is somewhat unsure and almost like a little confused, possibly a little surprised that it is like what it is. Because I think that this space between the third line here and the first line of this final stanza, the space, I feel, implies death. It's a silence. You know, death is ultimately the eternal silence, isn't it? Okay, so there's the kind of crux of the kind of key language and imagery in the poem. Just briefly in terms of rhyme, lots of half rhyme. Excuse me, missing my L there. Lots of half rhyme, isn't there? Um, rock, jack, suit, feet. So not full rhymes. Dress, grass, hat, light, straight, screw, out, and then blue. So we do have a moment of connection. Sun's way spins leisurely. S's ways wise. Bank is think, and then the last line doesn't really match at all with the is. Now the half rhyme I feel reflects the disconnect between the deceased parents and the at and the alive son who will die soon. That's my interpretation. Right, there you go. Eden Rock.